Hey guys, we got a big interview with James from Canuck Timepieces today.
It's going to be a time. Let's wind it up.
What you talking about? It's time for the show right now. Alex and Jordan break it down from the bezel to the crown. Every second counts, no doubt. What you talking about?
All right, boys, here we are, back again, all three of us. You know, the three amigos ride again. I can't remember how to do that dance from the movie, but I think we should we'll learn the choreography and something. Like I know there's a big hip thrust to finish it all off.
Yeah. I might break something if I do any hip thrusting.
Dibs on being Steve Martin for the three amigos.
Yeah, obviously Rich is a big enough fan. He knows which character he wants to be. I got nothing.
Darn right.
I'm happy with
give me
Marty
a few minutes
Short,
and I'll sing the Buttercup song for you.
Nice.
Oh,
nice.
That's a deep cut for the three amigos fans out there.
Yeah.
Deep
well
cut.
done.
Nice.
That's awesome.
So how you boys been this week?
Well, it's big week. I switched back to my grumpy mug from my Vancouver timepiece show mug, because as much as I love that mug, I find it cumbersome to work with,
Yeah, it is a little bit big and it's a little top heavy, and sometimes I do find it cumbersome with the mic on the show too. So I often bring in a smaller cup. But I love it on the road in the truck. Fill it with some ice and a beverage, and off you go.
Nice. Your truck's got a cup holder that'll fit that thing?
Darn right. It's a little skinnier on the bottom.
Fits
a cup holder.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah. Whoa.
Sorry, starting hot.
It's already starting.
Yeah, and here we go.
Yeah.
Well, I guess speaking of that, it's been a few weeks since I've been on with you guys, so I might have some things to talk about. What do you say?
Well, yeah, let's get into those nitpicks. I'm sure there's a lot of them. We've been unchecked for a bit.
All right, let's do it.
Nitpicks, corrections incoming with Smartwatch Dick.
All right, like I said, 3 shows, so lots going on. First of all, 2 shows ago, I need to apologize. It was what we'll call the Smartwatch Drunk episode. I'd had a few too many. I think the boys might have noticed. I was going a little slow with my words, but some of the clips might reflect that. So just keep in mind that that was a one-off after a hard week at work. So why don't we get into the first nitpick that's from that episode?
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic watch. And to be honest with you, I've had a couple people actually notice this watch, which is very rare for any watch I wear. So it's extremely wearable. It fits really good on my wrist. I mean, I used to have 6 3/4 inch wrist. I'm probably down to about, I'm probably almost getting close to a 6.5 inch wrist. So the 48 mil lug to lug is about the end for me. But
just a teeny baby wrist.
That was a very rude thing to say, Alex.
I was going to say that's rough.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that one's not so much a nitpick. It was just the odd time that Alex actually got some shots off on Jordan. That doesn't happen very often, so I thought we should make sure it's in there for posterity.
Well, to be honest with you, I was all stirred up about it. You guys gave me a bit of a complex, so I measured, and I'm still, the thing still says 6 3/4.
I was going to say, I noticed on last week's episode, you got that 1/4 inch back, so it was well done.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, 1/4 inch counts at this level, son.
It counts somewhere.
Yeah.
All right, let's move.
I was just going to say, I may not get a lot of shots on the show because I'm a little slow some days, but you should hear the comebacks I have like an hour afterwards. If only we were still together.
Standing in the shower thinking of the best comebacks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's what I should have said.
Nice. All right, let's hit the next one.
It'd be interesting to see what someone like Dansom wears. Does he have a golf watch, or is he golf watchless?
I know he sometimes wears watches in like his posts and stuff, but I don't know if that's for content. Like and I might be speaking completely wrong here, but I feel like Dansom, he's been in the golf world. He used to write for golf magazines, and I feel like he was even semi-pro. Like he's quite the golfer, is my understanding.
He's in both worlds for sure.
Yeah. So being just at the level that he probably plays at, and I know the rounds he shoots, I would imagine he probably doesn't, but maybe I'm wrong, because I feel like you can also wear quartz watches a little bit easier on the course, and they'll take a little bit more of a beating. than an automatic
absolutely.
watch too,
Yeah.
right? So
It feels like he needs to reply to this episode though and let us know what he wears when he golfs, because
Yeah, we were heavy smartwatch drunk on that one. So I did reach out to the Dansum and we had a little back and forth. And he did, I just want to make sure I quote him exactly. He says, "I do not wear a watch while golfing. 1, I find it uncomfortable and it throws me off. 2, my watchmaker has always said the golf swing is violent on movements and he hates servicing them," which is the same thing you said that episode, Jordan, that it's not great for the G-forces aren't good for the movements of the watch. So I know you guys both used your Sealander Extremes on the golf trip. We're assuming no damage was done. I actually reached out to Christopher Ward too to see, because you guys were talking about different pins, if maybe, or bracelets, if there's any other adjustments to kind of strengthen the watch. I didn't hear anything back from them, so I'm going to assume that no.
Even the
a pin
watch
is a
people
pin
are
is a
like,
pin.
"Shut up, nerds."
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, I'm assuming that just a watch pin is a watch pin. But while we're talking golf watches, I just ran across this today. I don't know, you guys have probably seen it, but this is the Ver G2 Fairway GMT. It's out for pre-order now, shipping in July. So it's actually using the bezel, if I zoom in here, to keep your score. So it's bi-directional, so people who get birdies can turn it one way and I'll just turn it the other way. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good looking watch. So,
yeah,
so yeah, like I said,
say I only have to have that moving one way for me.
yeah, no doubt. So yeah, that's pre-ordering now, $450
I've
US.
seen that
so
watch. I think it's super cool.
Yeah, it's nice. They got a lot of really
That's
nice
pretty
strap
cool,
and bracelet
actually.
options too. So yeah, I figured I'd put that out too for you.
Yeah. Ver is one of those brands we saw in Vancouver, and yeah, I really, I'm a big fan. They, I forget the young guy's name that was running the table. Hell of a nice kid too.
Yeah, they were awesome. Do not remember his name either.
Nice. All right. Well, you know what? We're gonna keep with the sports theme here, and move on to the next one.
because
Well, I know years and years ago, well, probably 10, 15 years ago now, Phil Mickelson hit an errant drive and hit a guy's watch and broke the guy's watch, one of the fans. And he ended up taking the watch off his wrist, giving it to the guy, and then gave the guy, I think, $400 in cash too.
Nice.
either Mickelson wears a really shitty watch or that guy did really well.
Yeah. You know what? Smartwatch, fact check that.
Smartwatch did fact check that. So it turns out you're giving Lefty a little bit too much credit there, Jordan. It was the 2006 Ford Championship at Doral, on the 10th hole. He broke the spectator's watch. He gave him $200 cash. That's it.
Oh, okay.
And
That cheap bastard.
they've never been able to confirm or find out at all what watch the guy was even wearing. So he might have come out way behind if he was a watch guy, or possibly he came out $150 ahead. I guess it's hard to say. So yeah, a little too much credit for Lefty.
Well, I hoped he was a little more charitable than that when he's smashing into the crowd. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No,
Awesome.
I don't know. No one ever asked me for money when I hit it into the crowd, so I'm lucky for that. But
Yeah, when I put it into the car park, no one cheers when I make par from there.
yeah, no doubt. All right, let's stick with the sports here.
It's just to kind of switch two things together. I think France is going to win, and I think Wemby, representing France for the San Antonio Spurs, is going to win the NBA championship. So
Okay.
that's my skewed opinion on sports.
And who's winning the Stanley Cup?
Who is in the final?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Vegas. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not. Here's the thing. I'm not a fan, and I'm gonna sorry to jump in, but I want to say this. So bad. You Toronto Maple Leafs and your fans and your stupid organization, you trade away players like Phil Kessel and Mitch Marner and say they're the problem. I'm looking right into the camera. Mitch Marner was by far the best Leaf on that team, and he's proving it right now in Las Vegas. This isn't a Mitch Marner, why didn't you do that in Toronto? This is Toronto, why do you suck so bad do you actually create a polar vortex for the rest of our country? That's the issue. Mitch Marner, please win the Stanley Cup just so you can take it back to Toronto and shove it up their arse.
And
Oof.
Nice. So that highlights a bit how much we suck at picking who's going to win stuff. But I also wanted Jordan's rant to live a little longer because that was so much fun.
It was so good. And you're not wrong. They just screwed you by not winning because it would have been such a great clip to play, with them hoisting the cup up. But you're still right. It's just, fuck.
Yeah.
That's
totally
too bad.
Yeah, that organization's still shite.
I was going to say, I didn't include the clip, Alex, but you were right. You did pick Carolina. Mostly a hoping than a choosing, but you did well. You got him. So
maybe if you would have had a better rant, you could have got on TV.
I should have found a way to rant about the Knicks. Oh man, I hate the Knicks.
Man, I hate the Knicks.
You couldn't rant. You were trying to speak slowly so no one would notice.
I almost hit all my words.
That was...
Oh man. All right. Well, let's move on to the next episode that I wasn't even on, so I can't be blamed for anything that happened here.
I mean, I'd love to go to the show in Vancouver, but I'd have to go see the banker before I went there.
Yeah.
Because I'd start falling in love with watches, and then what's that going to do? What good is that? No. No.
I just wanted to make sure we shouted out Joe. That's awesome, and I'm pretty sure
that was great.
Falling in love with watches is what you guys are trying to do to me, and that's why you're taking me to Toronto. So I feel Joe's pain. I don't know if we ever heard of any vintage watch shows he could go to, but yeah, hopefully there's something out there that pops up because man, that guy he'd be in heaven if he was in a vintage watch place.
Yeah. Then he'd be in hell when he gets home after his purchases.
We should honestly get a T-shirt made that just says, "Yeah, then I'd be into watches. Then I'd fall in love with watches, and what the hell's that going to do?"
Yeah,
I love it.
There you go.
That's a great.
Joe was awesome.
That's a great quote.
That was a great episode. I really enjoyed that.
That was fun.
Actually, here's another one from Joe.
Oh.
I do feel like you've been chasing, maybe chasing is a bad word, but the bubble back has been one that you've been seeking for a long time. Now.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's just because it's not common, it's very unique. And I feel like you've said to me before, like, if you just want to go and spend all the money, you can just go get one. But that's not where you really,
no. Yeah. No, that's just not how I operate, I guess. I mean, it's just, if I can't, I don't want to drain my watch account so much that I can't afford to do all the other things I want to do too, because it's not just that. There's all kinds of sidebars that I get sucked into.
So I think there's a lesson there from all of us about budgeting, first of all, and knowing where you're going to spend your money. But excuse me, the main reason I pulled that is because for someone uninitiated with like me, I had no idea what a bubble back was. So I poked around, and I'm sure you guys know this, but for the watchers, if you don't, bubble back is a Rolex watch. It was made from 1933 to the mid 50s. And the reason they made it was because it was their first automatic self-winding watch. And the perpetual movement wouldn't fit in the oyster case. They wanted to put it into the oyster case so it was waterproof. So they actually had to convex the back of the case, hence the bubble back, to make everything fit, just because it had a thicker rotor than they were used to. So, just information, I guess, for other people who maybe don't know that. I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure you guys knew all about it, but it's interesting to me anyways.
I only did because Joe said bubble back, and then I had to Google it after the episode.
Oh, see, and Joe's told me so many stories about it. I know that watch inside and out now. Well, I mean, from his stories.
Yeah,
So,
they're very cool looking. I mean, it'd be really neat to see one in real life, but I'd imagine they're not easy to come by, used or in rough shape, right?
Yeah, well, not for prices he wants to pay, because he wants to, find one that he can make his own and fix up himself for sure.
Start it from.
I think the cheapest one I found working was over 2,000.
Oh wow!
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So nice. I've seen a couple that were in around 6 and 7.
Yeah, excellent. All right, well, one last one from Joe.
Well, I thought that was a sundial he had on his wrist earlier today. But I couldn't tell by the shadow.
Yeah. And it's somewhere along the way, I started doing that too. So the second I get up, I walk straight to the watch box, pick my watch for the day, and then continue to go on with my morning. So, yeah.
Yeah, but you can't pull your shirt over some of those big boat anchors you put in your arms.
I like a good challenge.
Yeah, walk it over with your arm in your sleeve.
Really enjoy
Some
the
of those hockey
smartwatch.
pucks on his wrist.
Oh yeah, just had to make sure we highlight Joe busting your balls, Alex. It's
That was
fitting
awesome.
right in with the crew.
Joe
was
Joe
so
is
good.
Joe is such a great guy, and obviously he's my wife's stepdad, so he's my father-in-law, right? Like we spend a lot of time together, and he is so sneaky funny because he just comes across as this quiet, kind of shy guy. And, you even saw it on the episode. It takes him a few minutes to warm up, and then just all of a sudden, just wham! It's like. You kind of, and when you're first getting to know him, you're like, where the hell did that come from? And then it just keeps coming. And we have so much fun together. Cause he loved that episode. And I still hear about the big watch.
Yeah, he enjoyed himself on there too. Enjoyed talking. I know he was a little reluctant to come on at first, but he had a good time.
He really enjoyed it. He didn't really understand, why people would want to hear him talk about watches. But like I said, well, that's what the thing is watch nerds. We all have our little niche in this thing, and some guys are into vintage watches too. Some people want to hear about fixing them up. So, everyone has their own interest in this world. It's not just us talking about new watches and reviewing the new things, right? So
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool thing to get to have those conversations with him. And we're still going to do a road trip down to where he lives one day. He wants us all to come down and sit in his watch workshop and experience his world with him. So we'll do a field trip.
Nice.
that would
Yeah,
be
no, that'd be
awesome. And what is-
awesome. Yeah.
Is he in Lethbridge or Sombrero Medicina?
Yeah. He's running across both borders. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're in Lethbridge. So yeah, they're in Southern.
Are they?
Alcohol.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay,
it's not
nice.
too bad of a trip to do. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, no, that's a
nice.
couple
No, I'd
hours
love to
from
go
my
down and hang
background.
out with him and Wendy. That'd be great.
Yeah.
See the show, but
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, okay, I got one more, and I got a few actually, but we're gonna jump to the last one just for the sake of time because I think you guys might want to respond to this. So I'll start with your clip.
Oh man.
I was with Sheldon and his storytelling with the folding the towel. That was a good time too. So I don't remember the
The
story. but
legend that is Sheldon.
it ended with him folding a tea towel into the shape of a penis and us all standing there laughing and somehow taking pictures of all this because we were all blown away with how impressive we were.
But I believe he told us we laughed and we made him do it again so we could record it. I think
you're right.
I think that's how that one went.
I think you're right.
Yes, Sheldon. So Sheldon managed to reach out to me the other day because he was asking me when the golf trip was this year. And he kind of missed out. So somehow I don't know how he got it in his head, but he's pretty sure that it's your guys' fault that he wasn't invited. So yeah, he sent me a little video for you guys.
Oh,
So we're
geez.
gonna introduce the
That's great.
we're gonna introduce the What You Talking About Watcher universe to the man that is Sheldon. So
The man, the myth, the legend.
be prepared.
Yeah, I'm talking to you. What you talking about? I want to let you guys in on a little something here, okay? I want to let you guys know what chaps my vertical equator. All right? What really chaps it, boys, is that I was the original OG. The one that was there from the beginning of the golf trip. I don't know what it is, or what I did, or what I didn't do, but let me tell you guys something. I think this is a bunch of horse shit. Yeah, you can edit that out. But let me tell you, is it because you guys are scared? It's because you guys are scared to golf barefoot? Not man enough? There was a point in time you guys used to stand right beside me. Unity. 10 toes strong is what we called ourselves. Well, let me tell you guys something. I'm going to start my own golf tour. I'm going to call it the Two-Tone Tour. Okay? How about you guys don't get invited to that? 10 days later, I don't get a call back for the golf trip? The boys? As if I ever seen you guys on the monkey bars, I'd swing right by your ass.
Oh my lord, that was glorious.
So needless to say, Sheldon has a bone to pick with you guys.
Well, I would appreciate maybe you set him straight, Rich, and let him have nothing to do with us. I don't even know what I do to get an invite.
Rich is like, nah, I just want to see how this plays out.
Why not? But anyways, so for the world, Sheldon is alive and well, so we can all rest easy. But
Love him.
But yeah, no, I thought I'd reach
I
out to him.
love that guy. Thank you, Sheldon. That was amazing.
Cat, can we just pause for a second and talk about, remember that time Sheldon said my vertical equator?
And how we chap it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna come to Calgary at some point this summer so we can all go golfing together, because now we got to make that happen. I miss that guy.
We've got to be able to stand 10 toes strong, boys.
Perfect. But
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what we called ourselves.
yeah, something like that.
Oh man.
But anyways, yeah, that's all I got for nitpicks then. I'll leave you guys be to have a chat with James, and I'll come back next week, and I'm sure I'll have something to talk about then too. Oh, I did call you out on the internet though, Jordan, and everybody's backing me up. It was not Peppermint Patty pulling the football away from Charlie Brown. It was Lucy. But I think you've probably heard that enough.
Yeah, you know what, Smartwatch Dick? That money, that information, and $2 will get you a cup of coffee. All right, bud? How about that?
Yeah,
That's fair.
Bunch of people have commented, and it's like I didn't remember that either. So neither of us.
Well,
caught
here's
it,
the
so
thing.
whatever.
I appreciate that everyone's fact checking me, but it wasn't like I was like, "Hey, listen, I know for a fact it's Peppermint Patty that does this." Blah blah blah. I said I wanted to see a Peppermint Patty watch. Then I threw out that Peppermint Patty could pull the football away. I was never denying it was Lucy.
That's like a tribute watch.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
An
But of course,
homage
I'll
to Peanuts.
I'll factually incorrect on behalf of Peanuts.
Yeah.
They'd love that.
All
right.
Nice.
Fair
All right,
nitpick. Fair nitpick, sir.
Have a
Yeah. It's
Have
good
a
to
good
see you,
week.
Smartwatch Dick.
We'll
Thanks
talk
very
to
much.
you next week.
I feel like we got a bunch more of these to catch up on. Maybe we'll hop on and bust some of these out and do a little special episode of that or something coming up. So
Sure. We'll see what we can do.
see what we can do. Good to see you, brother.
All right. Cheers. Bye.
See you, pal.
All right. Today we're joined by James from Canuck Timepieces. So if you're into interesting, unique designs from an independent watchmaker, you may have come across Canuck Timepieces before. James has built this brand around creativity, collaboration, and bringing a bit of Canadian identity to the watch world. So thank you for being here, James, and welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me, guys. I know this is a long time in the making, and I think it's been months. Right?
Yeah, we've been chatting for a little bit, and you've been, kind of messaging us with the ongoings of your watches coming out in the last little while, and we've been going back and forth wanting to get you on the show. And as luck would have it, our schedules aligned, and finally here we are.
There you go. I know it's like we have another life, right? It's crazy to think.
Well, it's funny. I think we were talking to you. You sent us, kind of sneak previews of your watch that you were going to release. Then it got released and you were going to come on the show, and then it sold out, and then you went to Europe, and it was just like, okay, James is riding a wave right now. We'll talk to him soon, because man, it's great to see. Congratulations.
Thank you. It's just the beginning. It's one of those things that, I try and bring the passion through what I do, considering I don't have that background. So yeah. So I think it motivates me even more to
Awesome.
continue going with it.
All right,
Well,
we're
I
going to dig in.
think.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Jordan.
Well, I was going to say, I think, coming, we mentioned briefly about my background in pro wrestling. If there's anything I can tell you, it's being in what I call the quagmire and wasteland of Western Canadian pro wrestling. In the watch world, it must be tough to get recognized as a Canadian watchmaker, because there's just so many out there, and we just have, a handful of guys like yourself. So, thanks for A, making the effort, and B, thanks for being such a solid representative on the international stage for us.
You're gonna make me cry, guys. No, well, I'll just get into like the heart of, Canuck, as we all know, as Canadians, just means Canuck, or just means Canadian, right? So when I decided to do this, I didn't want the main identity to be red and white and maple leaves, right? And because if I was going to do something that I think best represented Canada, that to me is through collaboration and through unity and getting along with others. And, if people can debate that all day, but if you look from a history of Canadian, Canadians and leaders in Canada, how they interact with the rest of the world, I think that's probably the best way to represent Canada. And, I come from before this, like in my last hobby, or I'm still in it, but I don't obviously all the money's going towards the brand now. Um, I'm a long time car enthusiast. I say enthusiast similar to watch. I'm a watch enthusiast, meaning I obsess about them so much that I
I
want
was
to
just gonna say you're completely obsessed.
yeah, that I want to stay on top of it. I want to know the reason for a design. I want to know the history of that design. Um, it's probably my love of cars moves into architecture when I got older, when I'm like, oh, look at these buildings. Why does this building look the way it does? Figuring that out. What is modern? What is contemporary? What is like just so many aspects. And then art, you see art. That's a wall clock. It doesn't work because it's so heavy. That is like solid oak and epoxy
Oh,
in a cast iron metal.
Oh
I'm not
shoot!
taking that off the wall. It's not happening.
No, yeah, that
It
stays.
is pinned into the wall basically. Like it is not like just like, oh, it's just a little wire. No, they had to like when they were doing the addition, they like put behind this
I think
wall. Like, where are you putting that clock? Because you need to know now before we put the drywall up. Because we're gonna put like a brace behind it.
yeah,
And so
nice.
anyways, the history and going into that, in my previous hobby, I guess in general, and I worked in the streetwear community and sneakers. So one of the biggest, I guess, trends, from 2000, probably 14 to, 2022, I would say, like in like the popular and pop culture, sneakers became a very big thing for a
Oh yeah.
very long stretch there. And I'm seeing that in microbrands, in the microbrand community right now. Watches are having, that trending moment, if you want to call it that. And that's not a bad thing, but it's one of those things like, okay, how can you separate yourself from it? Like, how can you be unique to stand out from everyone else? Like, everyone
Yeah.
can release a dive watch that looks roughly like a Submariner. And that's not a knock on anyone. That's just it's popular. If you can create something,
Well,
if you have the money to back it, that's
there's
awesome.
there's only so much you can do with dive watch design
There's only
before,
so
no
much.
matter what, it starts looking derivative of something else.
Exactly. And I said that's not a knock on anyone doing that.
No.
That's like, hey, that's what you love and that's what you want to do. Props to you for that. But we were talking before about planning, and I'm one of those people that I'm a good mix of both because I'm a dreamer, but when I dream, I need to like plan in advance. So everything is planned to understand what the next, couple months or year or several years out. Like it's more dreaming, doesn't necessarily become a reality, but I need to know, if I'm gonna go into something like this, I need to understand, you know, how to have longevity in a
mhm.
industry or even in any product industry, really. And, for me, I was just saying when I obsess about something, when I go into something, I'm not doing it half-assed. I won't just be like, Oh yeah, I like sneakers. I'm gonna get a pair of Jordan 1s or Air Force 1s or Superstars or whatever. Like nothing wrong. Those are iconic sneakers. Same with watches. Like I'm not gonna come into this and go, I'm just gonna buy a Rolex, Submariner, or I'm just gonna buy the gateway drug, which is like a Seiko SRPD or SRPE, right? Like the gateway drug to this community
Alex.
and be done. No, but like and be done, right? You're not gonna. And I said you can do that, or you can better understand, more about the history of horology, and I love that. I love learning how did it get to this point, and so for me, vintage watches actually are my favorite. I love vintage watches.
Okay. Awesome.
And it doesn't always tell the story through my watches. But when I start explaining it, people go, oh, so a lot of my complications are not taken, but like they're versions of pre-1980s watches a lot of times.
Right.
So you have like with the
so
Lima.
you look to vintage for inspiration.
Yeah, like you look at the Lima, it has technically a mystery dial. So you can't see where the hands connect, right? They just
Right.
like they're floating. They're not floating, there's just coverage. So
We
that
were gonna ask you to do a wrist check anyways today. We haven't done them yet, so here we
Oh,
go.
so
Perfect,
and then you're like
perfect,
reverse it.
perfect intro, perfect right into it.
Perfect. So yeah,
Yeah.
I've worn this the entire day. It's the Lima Canuck GT Transit. And it is not on either the bracelet or the strap it comes with. I like switching up my straps. So I have it on a Tease Leather Goods. Shout out to him in Vietnam. It's a custom like croc skin leather
Oh, okay.
strap.
Nice.
Yeah.
That looks fantastic. Well, and it's
Yeah,
funny
thank
because you're no different than every other watch guy. Like we're always playing with our watches, changing the straps and everything, and having fun with it. So yeah, I mean, I think that's awesome. That's a great look too.
Thank you. I'm a
Fantastic.
collector
Well-
first. I always say that. I'm a collector first, designer second, business is the last part of it.
Yeah. Well, and I do find it funny that you kind of say like, oh, and I've been wearing it all day. Because you sound like me where I very rarely will go a full day without changing a watch. Like this is actually the third watch I've had on today.
See, I'll start. So I sleep. You're going to laugh. I sleep in a Casio A158, which is, in my personal opinion, the greatest watch of all time, just because accessibility, affordability, they've never changed it. And yet people know what it is.
Yeah.
Watch person, not watch person. They know what a Casio $25 watch looks like.
Yeah.
Or my Foreign Swit mixtape. Might have been, I think it was the first one.
Okay.
Yeah. Those are what I wear to bed, hilariously enough.
That's awesome. You have sleeping watches.
You know what it is?
That's amazing.
I don't like we all know blue light is bad for us. Like I have blue light blockers on my glasses and everything, but when you're in the middle of the night, you don't have your glasses on. So you don't want to grab your phone and blind you and you might stay awake for several hours after that or something. So there's a backlight on it. So I can just look at the time and go, okay, my kids are bugging me at 3 a.m. or something, right? So it's time to go back to sleep. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I've worn a watch almost all my
shoots
life.
onto the ceiling.
Yeah, I was going to say I've worn a watch almost all my life, but I cannot sleep in a watch. I hate it. So I have one of those clocks that shoots onto my ceiling too. And even without my glasses, I can just see it enough to know what time it is.
see, I bet you if you wore one of those tiny little light Casio A158, not on a metal, on like a regular strap, that's what I wear them on. They're like, you're not wearing anything. It's great.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. If I'm traveling and don't have my ceiling clock, I'll make sure I have a watch with good lume. And I'll sleep in a watch because I have to know what time it is when I wake up.
Yeah, I love how the golf trip every morning, Jordan reported to me how good the lume was on his watch while checking the time when he woke up in the evening. Oh, I was wearing my, whatever watch last night. Man, that lume was good because I saw it at 3 o'clock, no problem. We're constantly reviewing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, yeah. So now, I mean, I guess we got to ask the question: how do you go from enthusiast collector to, hey, you know what? I think I need to. I need to build some watches myself. How do you make that leap?
So my gateway drug was the Casio A150. So from that, it was actually I'll backtrack slightly. So I grew up around watches. I grew up, my dad was in the he still is in the financial industry. He always wore like tags and Breitlings and Hamiltons. Like those were like the three that he wore a lot. So I always knew of watches. I wore, I'm 36. So I grew up in the era of the 90s as a kid, and I had a Nike sports watch. That's what I wore. Like I remember getting it because it was like, I think it was 98 or 99 when they were like the Y2K, it's coming. So they did like the alien style, like the really cheap ones. Yes, you can, now you look back, you could try and look them up. It's like the really expensive, like nice ones versus the base Tri-X that what was like $20 at the outlet kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I used to wear that, and I bought my first watch when I had a paper route when I was 12, and it was a Seiko 5. It's upstairs somewhere. I don't wear it because it's on a metal bracelet, and I don't have the links. Also, it was like 2001 or something, or 2002. So it was the Seiko era where it didn't have normal lugs. It was like almost like an integrated bracelet, but it's an integrated bracelet for a watch that has never existed since probably that year. So it's like,
I
it's
think
just
my
kind of
buddy
like,
has a Seiko 5 like this.
yeah, there you go. So I keep it just to be nostalgic maybe, but I kept it. And I remember, fast forward, like sneakers, all this stuff. That's what I spent my money on. Then I had no money through my 20s, right? And then, I think it was 2022, I think is when I realized. So I was on a cruise. Yeah, it was, that's how I know it was 2022. Beginning of 2022.
Right after.
Yeah. And so what happened was, I'm on the cruise ship, and if you've ever been on a cruise ever, you know that you got to pay an astronomical amount for Wi-Fi, and there's no cell phone reception. But I didn't have a watch, so I'd carry my phone everywhere. That's where we would take pictures. I realized that when I would check the time every 5 to 10 minutes, and I wouldn't just look at the time. I would unlock it with my code and open an app that was useless, and I would do it every time. And I remember like third or fourth day, and I said, "Oh my gosh, I need a watch. I need to go back to a watch. I got to figure this out." So I got home, and I went obsessive trying to figure out, what do I buy? And we all know there's a lot of info out there. Even back then, it was basically Teddy, almost exclusively at that point. That was kind of like the intro. And if there's something I think, I don't think he has any enemies in this industry, because he is so good at tethering that line of like, hey, I love high-end horology. I can like a Rolex, but I can also like Casio. I can also like Microbrands. I can also like San Martin or something like that. I don't think he's mentioned that, but like, it's like one of those things that, so, oh, I think Nico, I actually think I watched a lot of Nico Leonard videos as well, which I thought I think he's crazy, but it's like that's his personality, and
Yeah.
I don't have an issue when he sticks to like watches and he just is extremely opinionated about his watches, because that's just him. This guy is like,
Yeah.
he's like a young Kevin O'Leary in that sense, right? Like he's just himself. Do you agree with everything he says? No, but but he's himself. We've got to give him credit for that.
Well, and he's
And
unabashedly himself. His personality is what made him
yep,
famous, and nobody in the watch space has taught me more about Rolex than Nico.
I was
Right?
gonna
Like,
say, I'm
that's
like, exactly. And it's one of these things that, you know, when I was like, okay, do I get a Seiko 5? Do I get a, you know, an Orient? Do I get a, and then Casio kept coming up, and I'm, I forget who it was. I really do. I watched so many videos for so many hundreds of hours probably. And someone said, if you need to know if you like to wear a watch and you haven't worn one ever or haven't worn one in many years, not even a smartwatch, which I didn't. I never wore a smartwatch. And I
attaboy.
and they said and they said they said buy a Casio that's less than $30. Wear it. If you like it, if you don't like it, you've spent less than $30. If you do like it, well, now you know. And I put it on. I got one with the metal bracelet, if you can call it that. And
Yeah.
you know what? I'm weird because it's a vintage bracelet. Like all vintage watches pre 1980s all had those style bracelets, and I liked them. And so I remember putting it on and realizing very quickly, I like it. And then I'm like, ooh, you can switch out straps on this cheap little thing. And then you're on Amazon, you're like, oh, well, it's worth the same amount. DHgate, where I bought my like 5 fake jerseys one time, you know, because I'm like, ooh, $15 for a cheap jersey. I wonder what what's AliExpress? What is this? And it's like you realize that it's the same straps that I'm not going to list any companies as the base level companies. It's actually usually higher quality product that you can get off AliExpress for the same price. Not for watches, to clarify that. Straps are straps, just like sneakers are sneakers. There's leather, there's a sole, there's foam maybe inside. A strap is a strap.
Yep.
Well, there's only so many people that make these things, man. It's just how they brand them.
Yeah.
Oh.
And yeah, so that kind of got the journey started. Then the obsession came where I was like, okay, well, what's the next level? Well, I bought a Casio Duro because I needed a diver, but I didn't want to spend a lot of money. Bought like, I kid you not, I bought 4 Casio Duros, modded a bunch of them, gave some away. I changed bezels. So that was the start of me fidgeting, because I always modified my cars, and I'm like finding out a lot of that stuff. And, you know, then the next level came of, do I buy a Seiko 5 finally? Or do I, you know, like, what can I get under $500 Canadian? And then I stumble, you know, I start looking at vintage watches, and I'm like, what are these Soviet watches? What are these? What are these watches?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, wait, you
The
can buy these for like
Vostocks.
$50 to $100 for a mechanical watch? What? And they're reliable? This is crazy. So I bought several of those, and I've kept 2 of them.
Okay.
Nice.
It's the one is like the weirdest. It's a car company that I've never heard of, and most people have never heard of it. It's called Zaz. Z-A-Z. Or for your American viewers, Z-A-Z. And and no one, like, it's like, it was a Polish Soviet car company. It was Soviet and then because it was in the mid 80s when it was around, and then obviously Soviet ended. Ukrainian, not Polish.
Okay.
And so it lasted like 2 years in Ukraine, but it was the factory workers' watches with the car on it that they
Huh.
were building. That's what they gave them. And I'm like, that's unbelievable. This is the coolest
That's
watch.
really
I think
cool.
I paid $50 for it, Canadian. Like, it's so
That
cheap.
is cool.
And I'm like, this is the coolest. By the way, it works extremely well too. It's really funny. Perfect wind. It's like it's the same Vostok Amphibia movement and everything. So like,
Yeah.
Okay.
so a kind of wonky crown, but like it's fine. It's like fully secure, waterproof for some reason.
Otherwise bulletproof.
Otherwise bulletproof. And then I kept the 1950s. Prior to Vostok being a company, there was like 4 or 5 companies that became Vostok, and it was
Okay.
a printed guilloche dial. So it wasn't guilloche, but it was like stamped, which for the
Right.
time wasn't, and it wasn't metal stamped. It was like, it's not paper, but I don't know how to describe it. So, and it's a
Interesting.
small seconds, and I love small seconds, but
Very cool.
Alex is very racist against small seconds.
Yeah, I'm not a small seconds fan so much.
how dare you? How
I know.
dare you?
I know.
On one hand, he says he doesn't like complications, but he doesn't like small seconds, which immediately, as soon as you make a center seconds, you've created a complication on the watch, which refutes his I don't like complications.
Alex,
It's a
do you
very
have any
strange conundrum.
chronographs?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Jordy's
no,
giving
no. See,
Jordan's-
that avoided
yeah.
the whole thing then.
I love complications. I just don't like that one. I don't know what it is. Jordy's not wrong. I'm not. There is the odd watch where I think it works. I just think there's a lot of watches it doesn't work. At least not for me. I don't know. So I'm not gonna go sweeping statement, but for the overall, I'm not gonna say I'm a small seconds fan. So, but yeah, I love a chronograph. Got a bunch.
So yeah,
I
I'd
do
say
love a
it's gotta have 2 or
chronograph.
3 small seconds on it.
yeah.
That don't move. That don't
Yeah,
move. Don't move.
I also
This
get
is
no
great.
onions on my burger, and I will order onion rings on the side. So that's who I
Yeah.
am too.
That I do the
Cooked.
same.
No, cooked versus raw. Very big difference.
Yeah.
big-
Are,
and
oh,
deep
are you the
fried.
same, James? Are you? Yeah.
Nah, I don't like that.
I love the people at AW. You know, I have a team burger, no onions, and I order onion rings, and they're like, "What?" And I'm like,
Oh,
"Yeah,
see, like,
I know."
I don't eat onion rings, but I can't stand raw onion. I don't mind like if onion is either cut so small and caramelized where you get the flavor. I don't want a crunch with a massively powerful, intense flavor. Like
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm with you.
doesn't need to give me that crunch. I don't want that at all. And so I'm
Agreed.
not a hater
Yeah,
on
I don't need a
onion.
cheese
I'm a
and
hater on
onion
raw
sandwich.
onion. Yeah.
I
Like, no.
totally derailed your story about starting your watch brand with
Okay, yeah,
onion
yeah.
rings.
The
Sorry, man.
So after that little venture, I decided to I did get the itch to spend more money. So I was like, well, I don't want to be you know what it is? I love Seiko. I like pre 1990s Seiko though. And just because I find that era like from 19 I don't know 50s to like through the 80s is like their golden era. Like that's when they invented like all the stuff anyways for their current watches. I also their value proposition a few years ago was pretty bad, but now they've come down. Like a lot of like the watches are what they should be, which is $250 to $300 probably for
right.
watches that have that don't have they end up having like a pressed clasp where it's like, are you kidding me? Like, how come AliExpress can produce something? Again, those prices have changed too, but let's say $100 Canadian, you can get sapphire crystal, Like I get the point is that they are what they are. I get that, but at the same time, why is like so I ended up buying an Orient Kamasi because I'm like, why the heck would I buy an SRP when I can buy a better watch for less money from the same company that has a sapphire crystal and then the dial is better. Not necessarily like I will say the Orient brand like logo itself, yeah, not as good as Seiko, like from a design perspective. But their watches, like look how well the dress watches, like those dress
Oh.
watches sell a ton, and
Those
there's a reason for
Bambinos,
it.
oh my lord.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a beautiful watch, and I
Yeah.
understand. Now they're too big for my wrist. I have a small wrist, so they end up being fairly large for a dress watch. So they never worked out, but a Kamasu made total sense to me. Also, their Kamasu's, I don't regret getting rid of it. I do sometimes, but it's kind of like what ended up being the Unity, which was my first watch. So when I
Okay.
sold it, I'm like, okay, I got to sell it because if I'm going to do this, I got to do it right. And, once I got the Kamasu though, I kind of got the itch like a month or two later of, well, what is $1,000 watch? And I go, but then this is where I started to make my own watches because I was already on AliExpress looking at straps. And I'm like, wait, how much is this movement? Again, this is 3 years ago at this point. So, an NH35 at that point was like $25 Canadian. So cheap. Now, the same movement is like $100 plus Canadian. So it's quadrupled in that time, which is crazy. But
Yeah. Wow.
it doesn't make it any worse of a movement. It's always been an outstanding movement. But knowing that at the time I could buy a movement, a case, dial, hands, obviously not like nothing original, but knowing that I could make my own watch, I think I still remember it was like $94 Canadian shipped for all the parts. And then I wanted but I already had the watchmaking tools because I was doing modifications. So I bought that off Amazon for $20 and it had everything I needed. And so I'm like spending less than $100. If I mess up, I mess up. If I mess up a handset, handsets are still cheap. Handsets are like on AliExpress specifically, they're cheap. $5 to $10 Canadian to ship to my house, right? Included. So it's like, if I mess up, I mess up. If I don't, I have a watch that I love. I've taken apart that watch to use for prototypes, so it's not something I have. I don't regret that because I know that it's throughout all my prototypes that I have, the prototypes that I do have. And I remember, making that first watch, and I forget what videos I watched. I can't remember. It wasn't a watch person. It was someone who was also learning. And so I felt it was more helpful for me.
Right.
But when I made that first watch, it had the hands of a Seamaster. The dial was very unique, but it had pretty simple like the circle indices. Like it wasn't Submariner. But it was kind of like a Seamaster style. Actually, do you know what it looked like? The Christopher Ward, like the Dune style dial.
Oh yeah.
But it wasn't a Dune pattern. It was almost like a hurricane, like kind of like the wormhole in that case, where it was like a spiral out. If you go on AliExpress, you can find that dial still, I think, but like it's weird because I've never seen watches made with them still. And it was just like a typical Explorer case, I think I had, right? Like at the time you could buy them for like $20, the cases. So like it wasn't anything big.
That's wild.
And, when I made it, my Instagram page at that point, I did sneaker photography. So I had, it was all sneakers basically. And I started posting random watch photos, which, by the way, watch photography, whole other
It's
beast.
it's
My
so dumb.
Well, all my photos, like, sorry, when you see on Instagram,
God.
if it's not tagged with someone else, those are my photos. So like, I'm not like, so I've learned, and I've had to learn a lot because of her. AR crystal means nothing when you're taking watch photos.
Oh,
But then you see something without AR coating, and you're like, oh, Hamilton, there you go. There's nothing. You can't even see it.
yeah, true.
That's a knock
Yeah.
on Hamilton. Make amazing watches. They're beautiful, timeless heritage pieces. But please, 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 Hamilton, start putting air coating on your watches. It's insane.
Yeah.
But
there's certain things to me that should be industry standards, like air conditioning in your car, right? Screw links on the bracelets, AR coating, inner and or outer, but yeah, there's just certain things that, it's
Sapphire crystal.
yeah, like jumping
like
back real quick
Seiko.
to your comment on Seiko and their pressed clasps. Here we are, they're selling Presages for, $800-900, $1,000 on a bracelet. And the bracelets, quite frankly, are dog shit. And people are just like, well, just
worst.
I can't deal with it. I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
I have a Seiko, but it's on a leather strap, right? Like it's I have the Presage Cocktail Time on a leather strap. I will not put a nickel of my money towards a Seiko bracelet.
No, they're horrendous. They're terrible.
Yeah.
But
sorry.
yeah,
anyways, back to your.
No worries. So they're all sneaker photos, and what happened is I post the watch I made, not a modded, because I posted my modified Duros and Casio, like same Casio, I get it, but I posted it, and this watch I started to get like follows from watch people, and I was like, and there was someone in Singapore who is still a friend of mine, and we started chatting and we got to know each other, and so I made a few more customs for myself, and then he's like, you need to do a business. I'm like, no. I just said, it's just for fun. Like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not a watchmaker or anything like that. And I think he bugged me for like a year. It was like a whole year. And and he's like, you have to start selling them. And I'm like, okay, I'll do customs. So I did like modder, like customs, right? Because I'm like, well, like, let's see, how it goes. And I think it was, so it was last January. And what had happened was, in 2 months, I sold 5 watches, which at the time, like, that is actually really good, considering I didn't have a following or anything. Like, I think I had like 50 followers. Like, it was just, but it wasn't watches I wanted to do. You know what I mean? Like, it was just homages.
Yeah, it was what you had access to.
Yeah, it's all I had access to. I had wanted so badly to create something, and then then I found out, I'm like, oh, you got to have a mold that costs $250. Oh, you want a case mold? It's more than that. It's $500. And I'm like, sorry, what? Oh, MOQ is 200. You got to buy 200 of them. I'm like, pardon me? And I'm like, that's not happening. I guess I'm just gonna do this, and I'll do Namoki mods and the higher quality ones, DLW mods, like just higher quality modders, right? And there's a lot of them out there. But what happened was, there was one customer, again, still friends with them to this day now, because we were chatting. So he lives in Bali. So he's in Indonesia. And he was like, it'd be pretty cool if someone, was able to make this. And he sent me like a enamel pin as a dial. I'm like, I can try. He's like, you would try? And he's like, I said, yeah, why not? because like he had sent me the eBay one. And it was like, I think it was like $30, but on AliExpress, I think it was like, I don't know, $5. So I bought 2 of them. And so what did I do? I went out to my garage to drill a hole in the middle. Like I measured it a bunch on the back, make sure it was even. I put it in some vise and put it right down. I'm like, well, there's no going back now. But then I realized, for a technical side of things, most dials, like the thickness of a dial is traditionally between 0.7 millimeters and maybe 1.1 millimeters at the very thickest, like usually 0.7 to 0.9 most of the time. So this was 2.5 millimeters thick. So I'm like,
Jeez.
I don't know what I'm going to do. How am I going to fit this? So what happened was I grab a Dremel. So I bought a Dremel. I bought like on Amazon a Dremel with a bunch of attachments. So I didn't know what I was doing. So I was holding them, by the way, like a really dumb person. Like I was holding all of them too the whole time.
Oh my God.
Attaboy.
Lucky you still have all your
The most
fingers red
Canadian
green.
thing, they're like, whatever, bud. It's just a
Yeah.
finger.
Yeah.
Got health
Yeah.
care. It's fine.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
get it
Yeah.
reattached.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. You got all your fingers, just no fingerprints left.
Yeah, it's
That's
so
funny.
I was using like a diamond cut one, like,
Oh,
and
jeez.
it was slowly like, I'm like, I feel like it's just like it's so rough. I'm like, I don't even know. So I kid you not, I spent like over several weeks, probably like 10 hours using this bit, and I knew it was bound to happen. I freaking got a little loose on holding it. It shoots
Oh, no.
underneath, destroys the entire like on the
Oh,
enamel side.
shoot.
It went underneath, just
Yeah.
right across. I'm like,
Oh.
let's start again.
Oh.
So I started again, but I realized carbon disc, perfect. It
Yeah.
allowed me to cut through and slowly and smoothly do it. Now I had to, mind you, I didn't even mention that each bit at a time, I had to take my little calipers and go around every
Yeah.
90 seconds, or else my hand would like light on fire because of the metal heating up. So
This is
anyways, I was
great.
able to complete this custom watch, and I was so happy when it was done, but not because of the turmoil it caused me. It was the effort, and I'm like, at the end of it, I looked at it, and I'm like, man, this looks good. I did a great job. Hopefully he feels the same way. So over this time, I find out that this guy is like a major collector. He has like Pateks, he has like those types of watches. And I'm like, why did he want to buy a watch off me? And he gets it, and he like absolutely loves it. This friend that I met in Singapore online, we're still talking. He's the one who introduced me to him. And, fast forward to like now I have the brand and whatnot. I was in Singapore last November, and I was talking to my friend that it was, yes, there was tears. I think a little bit of tears seeing him because I didn't think I'd ever meet him. And, he said, oh yeah, he has it on like, I went to visit him. It's on his like bedside table. He wears it all the time. And I'm like, I like started to get emotional. I'm like,
cool.
oh my goodness, he actually likes it. Right. Like, it's like, it made me feel so, like just like
Must
really
be so
good.
gratifying. Yeah.
Thank you, gratifying. I'm like, there was a feeling that I'm like, and this was like when I was in Singapore and I had only sold, really the Black Hole, really, to be honest. At that point, I sold the Unity as well, but like it was so early. I didn't know if I really was going to do this, like all in. And hearing that while I was in Singapore, while I was very strongly welcomed from other brands. Yeah, I know it was a long story, but it's a long lead up because I think it's
Well, it's a
important
journey,
to
man.
know. I think it's important to know the journey of not just, oh, I love watches, oh, I love design, oh, I wanted to make a watch like it, and boom. Like I'm not wealthy. I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars to invest into a product. I had to build slowly. So when I released that first watch in June last year, and it was 5 pieces. So that's April. April was when I started working on it. And it was like right at the beginning of the tariff with
perfect.
Mr. Orange Man. And
Captain
and
Cheeto.
and I wanted to work with an American dial maker, and I say, hey, I know there's like a bunch of crap going on between our countries, but I want to find a way to make something that is like unity. And the guy was so on board, and he was like, yeah, I'm down. And I released that watch in June. I sold 2 watches in June, July, August. In 3 months, I sold 2 watches. And I was so down.
It's a start, man. Yeah.
And I was so like, I'm like, oh my goodness. And which brings to Ando and the, everyone calls it the spaceship watch. It's the black hole, but everyone calls it the spaceship. So
Stupid watch enthusiasts.
So this is the Unity. This was a Surfite dial. So do you know what Surfite
That's
is
cool.
before I?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Okay. Do you know what Fordite is? You know
I've
Arcanaut
heard.
watches. Arcanaut.
I know what
Yeah.
meteorite is, and I know
Black
what.
Badger. As I say, Black Badger, right? Canadian. So he makes Fordite rings, right? But he's with Arcanaut and a few other brands.
Okay.
So Fordite is automotive paint runoff. So when factories you have paint, that's why it's like black, white, silver, usually gray. Like you might get red every so often, you might get yellow every so often. It's very rare to get bright colors, right? Unless it's believe it or not, Jeep assembly lines, Chrysler assembly lines have like purple and yellow and orange and things like that, right? So probably like a year. Yeah, probably about a year before I connected with him, I saved this Surfite dial, and it was on Etsy. Found the guy on Etsy, of all places, because I'm like, I wanted to make a Fordite dial, like before, like when I was doing like just watches for myself, and I'm like, oh, you can't just buy them, weird. And I'm like, but I found Surfite. I'm like, what is this? It's surfboard paint runoff. That's why. That's why it's so colorful, right?
That's where you get the bright colors then.
And that's why you have sparkle, you have matte, you have so many different like types of paint versus automotive paint. So when I did that, it was special because it was like something that you couldn't really just get. But yeah. But fast forward to Spaceship Watch, Black Hole. So Millennium Falcon watch, whatever you want to call it.
That thing's cool, man.
So
Sweet.
second, just because I've got to have the running second. It'll annoy me.
He really likes this watch, folks.
I do. So when it was a case. So if you don't know Ando's history, Ando did like mod cases, but like very unique mod cases, right? Like cases that he designed, right? And when I decided, I saw him posted on like a story like in March or April last year, right? And I was bugging him. I was like, hey, I'm a huge Disney, like Star Wars fan. If you're ever going to sell those, let me know. Oh, it's just a prototype. It's just a prototype. And July, he messages me and he goes, hey, we're not going to, I bugged him like once a month. I didn't know him that well. I didn't know him that well either at that point, right? And so like bugging is like once a month, right? Like I wasn't like peppering him. I just like, hey, are you selling it? And So what happened was he's like, yeah, I have 2 or 3. Do you want one? I said, yeah, like how much? And, he gave me like basically what the cost was. And so I got it and I had an idea right away. I was like, yeah, I want to do Masu black, right? So it looks like literally space, like dark space on your wrist. Now, the original version obviously didn't have my hands. They had Ming hands, right? Because at the time, didn't have access to making my own handset. But I still had the yellow seconds hand because the yellow seconds hand for me was like a radar, like the old submarine radars, like the
Right.
boop,
Yeah.
boop, right? Like no matter what happens, you're always going to see it. It's always going to be moving, right? So when I made it, I remember posting it online. It was like 9:00 at night. I go to bed. I wake up the next morning on my personal page, mind you, as well, which again is really more sneakers. And my watches at that point might have gotten like 10 or 20 likes. Like my sneaker shots, 100, 200, 300 likes, right? Like it's vast different. So I wake up the next morning to like, I'm pretty sure it was like 100 likes. And 100 likes, comments, like double digit DMs that I haven't seen in like over a year, because I wasn't involved as much in the sneaker side anymore. And one of them was from Ando, and Ando was like, "Do you want to produce this?" And I'm like, sure, but like, can we use it under my watch brand that I just started?" And he's like, "Yes, of course." And he's like, "Well, how many do you want to make? 30?" And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I've sold 2 watches. Actually, at that point, I think at that point I sold 1. I'd sold 1, I think, at that point, because I used them in July. It was like a month later. And I'm like, so yeah, let's do it. Like, can we do 10? Is that okay? And he's like, yeah, of course. I'm like, okay, good. He's like, but we can't use those hands. I said, yeah, they're Ming. And he goes, do you have any ideas? I said, do I have any ideas? So I did, obviously. And so it's kind of funny because it became my iconic hand set of having the curve, right? Slight curve. The Lima's also got it, just a different iteration of it, curve, right? So when I made that and when I started promoting it in August, and at that point, September was the Toronto Timepiece show. So if you haven't noticed, I do love other micro brands. I'm a collector first. I love micros. I think there's so much creativity in the space.
Yep.
And so I was following other micro brands. I was liking, commenting. There was no repost at that point. I was DMing, following stories like that. But it's not because I was trying to get clout. It was not because I was trying to build a brand, because at that point it was just for fun. But it sounds maybe cheesy, but like it is who I am. I love supporting people that are trying to do something different and are, more importantly, genuine. And when I support someone, it's because I genuinely support them. It's not because, oh, well, it's probably good for me that I follow them, that I like them, that I do that. And I'm like, and even people that I don't follow currently, like, and that's the other thing, like I'm a brand, I have to keep a proper ratio. I came from the e-commerce background, social media background. If you want to grow a business, you can't have a ratio of 2 to 1. You can't have 1 to 1, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, maybe 5 to 1 to like 10 to 1 is like what you want for the algorithm. For brands specifically, not like obviously creators and things like that, but it's just different for a brand. You see brands that have follow no one, which I don't know how you obviously spending a lot of money on marketing, which I didn't have. And I think it's important to have genuine connections with with other brands because I think it's important to respect what those brands do. And one of those brands is Selton. So Leo at Selton. And I remember meeting him at the first timepiece show in Toronto and just being blown away by the dials. I'm like, what the heck? You know what I mean? Like, this is unbelievable. And I obsessed about the one, it was sold out. And then at the show, it was there again. Well, I'm walking in with Watch Fan, shout out Basker. And I walk in, we're there probably the VIP night for like an hour or so. And he's like, you know everyone. And I'm like, well, I talk to them. I don't know them. He's like, but they know you. Well, I don't know. I said, I just respect what they do. And he's like, yeah, but like, that's not normal for like someone who's become a brand. I said, I know, but like, I like them. So why wouldn't I support them in that sense? Right. So it was leading up to this show. I launched the watch 5 days before the show. And leading up to the show, so I was so excited because I sold seven watches up to the Friday night. And like, so that was like in a 5-day period. And I was like ecstatic. I was like, oh my goodness, I did not expect this. And then the VIP night of the show, I don't have a booth or anything, but someone said, oh, it was like a creator was like, hey, I have someone that like saw your watch online and they want to see it. So I show me, and he saw it and he's like, how much? And I told him, he's like, and he looked at his friend and he's like, yeah, I'm going to buy this right now. How do I buy it? Can I e-transfer you like the money? And I'm like, sure. And it was one of those moments where, you know, as he's getting his e-transfer set, his friend's like, I don't think you understand what you just did. He came here committed to buying. He'd been talking about this show for like months, and he could only come to this Friday night. And he had his heart set on another watch. I can't remember it was a prominent brand. And he's like, he had his heart set on that specific watch.
Wow.
He comes and looks at your watch and goes, I'm buying this instead. And I was like, a little emotional, like a little, and I'm like, oh, you know, he kind of blown away. He purchases it. And then I end up selling like throughout the show 2 more watches, right? I'm not even at the show. I'm not promoting it either. I'm not like, don't have Canuck Timepieces all over the place or anything. But brand owners were introducing me to customers at their table.
Which is what's great about this community.
That's what I mean. And it was the first time I had that sense of, whoa, why are they helping me? And I've never experienced this in any field or category of product sales or service sales, anything. And at that point, I'm like, okay, well, maybe I have something here. And I sold out of that, and it was like, okay, what's next? And I'm like, well, we got to deliver it. And I said, I have ideas. So yeah, October started working on the wormhole, which was 30 pieces, and that sold out in a month. And I, again, ecstatic about that.
That's a
And
neat watch, man.
and you know, it's crazy because this watch and the black hole and the wormhole, people are still asking for it. And I'm like, I have another watch. I don't know. I'm just kidding. You know, it's hard, right? Because like the 4th dimension for me was like such a massive challenge. It's this watch. That's when you tie it in. And it was one of those watches that I wanted to like push myself to figure out a way to make something that is truly the 4th dimension, messes with your mind. And because I love old complications from the 1970s probably had the best, probably because everyone, I heard this earlier today, probably because everyone was on acid. So they're like, let's figure out a way to do something wild. And,
Yeah.
and it was,
Can
there was
confirm.
just, yeah. and it's one of these things that it's such a unique era, and I'm like, I think we need to bring this forward. Obviously, since then, we've had, Heron watches in Montreal have very much a vintage inspired. You have Tesse, also Quebec based, very vintage inspired. And I love their pieces. Like, it's like one of those things that it's great to see vintage, but a brand that's always kind of been there, and someone that I consider a friend now, which is Ivan at Vario. And like, I think he has like probably the true meaning of an homage, not what people call an homage, which is usually a copy. Just being there to someone, they're like, oh no, no, that is like a true meaning of an homage. You can't get that specific watch currently or in the past. Yes, the case is a trench watch. Smaller than a trench watch would be in the best way possible. He takes the numerals and the dial design from that era, but nothing specific. One for one copy of that era, and same with the handsets. And I remember seeing Vario, Brew. So you had Jonathan Ferrer and you had Lima with Herman. And those three brands were the inspiration for me actually started the brand and me getting into Microbrands, because I didn't know they existed. I didn't know you could have fun with watches. I just knew Seiko, Longines. By the way, not boring, but like just the general, like Rolex, Omega. Like, I thought that's just all it was.
Yeah, you're sort of your base, what I'll call your basic 10 to 15 brand names that everybody,
yeah,
anybody
like
that goes to the mall kind of knows or even has a
Citizen,
toe in the
etc.,
luxury
yeah.
world.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I love Citizen, but which is not a shout out to Tyler, horology obsessed or anything, but I do love Citizen as a brand.
Nice.
But those three brands, gave me, like, I don't even like chronographs, to be honest. That's why I made a joke earlier. I'm not a chronograph fan. No, it's because I need movement. And if it's not going to have movement, it needs to be something special that takes my eyes away from the no movement happening. So Selton, they sold me a watch that has two hands and a moon phase. Well, as we know, that dial is MOP Guilloche. It is unbelievable. It's spectacular. Yeah. But a chronograph, I love the look of a chronograph. I think they're timeless. I love them. But I put it on my wrist and I find that I'm never wearing it because I'm like, there's too much going on and nothing's moving. And there's just like this weird sense of like, I need something to happen. And it's like, well, you can hit the button, you can hit the lever or the pusher. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, but like then the battery life just dies. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'm not going to press it continuously. And again, it's not a knock. Like, I love the look of a chronograph. It's just personally, I can't wear one because I would rather wear something else that has some type of movement. So when Brew, when I saw Brew and Lima, the Chrono Sprinter, I'm like, what are these? I don't care if it doesn't move. Those are freaking cool looking. Like the inspiration of like the past, and I'm like, oh, the case, like for Brew, the bracelet. I'm like, what is this? And you just made me like chronographs, like just by looking at your brands, right? And it became, the inspiration behind it, which is why I'm starting to get emotional because I'm talking about like Herman and I at Lima doing a collaboration, and I'm pretty sure I happy cried a little bit when I got like the message saying let's do it. And Like, it meant a
pretty
lot
cool.
to me because it was
Well,
kind
it's
of like,
validation.
well, you just talk about validation. When I went to Singapore in November to Spring Sprung, I was helping Ando helping. I just wanted to go and, be at his booth and figure out like what these shows are all about outside of Toronto. And I'd never been to Singapore. My wife, like, we love to travel. In another room, we have a travel wall of like art that we collect from like street vendors and stuff. And
Nice.
so she's like, well, you're not going to Singapore without me. And so like we got the kids to be watched by my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law, which was amazing. And it was the first time my wife, who up to this point was like, yeah, you spent a bunch of money for no reason. I don't get it. And, when we were there, people coming up to me and talking to me and brand owners, and she was like, okay, now I get it. Now I get it. And it was like that, like, emotional sense of validation of, okay, well, you're right. This is a real thing. And if your best friend / your wife or partner is supportive of it, I think it's a special thing for your relationship with them as well. Right. So I think, that was that. Yeah.
Nice.
That's
Good for you.
cool.
Now I want to jump forward a bit because, you've got a great watch, you've got some good watch brand, your brand's growing. And then all of a sudden it's like, hey, you know what? I'm going to market some hockey jerseys. Right? Yeah, I thought we better talk about that. So let's jump forward here real quick to those are so cool. Those are so nice.
So good. So good.
What made you decide to come up with those, James? Sorry, go ahead, Alex.
No, I was going to say, and after that, also the soccer kits as well. So you've got, and now I understand the apparel side a little bit more in conversation with you. But yeah, I'm not that I'm not anything negative about the soccer kits. That hockey jersey, oh man, you and I've talked about it. I don't need to tell
Listen,
you.
bud,
Such a jersey guy. Like, oh, I know.
Listen,
I know.
bud. Listen, no. You know what? If I was going to do apparel, totally fine doing hats, totally fine doing t-shirts, hoodies, etc. Right? But because I do unique watches, I kind of have to do unique apparel if I'm going to do apparel. I still get people asking, "Are you going to do hats?" And I'm like, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, I wear hats.
Any idiot can do a hat.
It's not that though. Like, it's just like, are you wearing a jacket, like a Mason jacket hat? That's what it looks like. That his logo.
No, this is what you talking about hat actually.
No, I know yours.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, buddy.
I got a marathon hat on actually.
It's marathon. Okay, I was like, I couldn't figure it out. I just saw the M, and I'm like, my fellow independent watchmakers down south. He has. Yeah, it's funny. All this time, I'm like, it's Maison jacket, and someone goes, no, it's Mason. I'm like, of course, it's an American that has Mason. It's Maison. What are you talking about?
It's
what are you talking
Maison.
about? It's a foyer, not a foyer. No.
Yeah. Mason, say it, Frenchie.
You know what? I think it is like it's supposed to be Mason, but it's spelled out Maison. Like it's like exactly the way house is spelled in French. It's funny.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, anyways,
foyer.
But yeah, I wanted to do something unique and special. And this is where the Canadian heritage came in. I'm like, well, I'm a Canadian company. It's called Canuck. I played hockey for years growing up, just like most kids my age, or most people my age did. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna half-ass it. If I'm gonna do it, this is not gonna be a money-making thing. I already know that. Apparel really isn't in general, as you guys know, or anyone knows. Like, even if you have a huge markup, let's just say you spent $5 on the hat and you sell it for 30. Yeah, doesn't matter. That's still only $25. Oh, by the way, rich. You probably have shipping and duties on top of that, right? And it's like, okay, cool. Let's say best case scenario, it's $20. maybe $20 that you made on it. Yeah, you don't have to sell to make any money on that. Like, and
Yeah.
so like
You're
when I
going to
thought
sell
about
enough to make more hats.
Yeah.
well, that's the thing. I said, why would I want to spend that money when I should be investing into the business? So I'm like, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to do made to order, and I'm going to get them made in Canada. And yes, people are like, well, your watches aren't. Well, no, because like if I want to keep it affordable,
Well,
no,
and how many people in Canada are making like off the shelf movements like that you can buy in bulk? That's a ridiculous statement.
yeah, no, well, that's what I mean. Not like the movements. No, like there are people making cases, there are people making
Right.
hands, but like even well, you guys had Tyler on, right? Like making a case, like here is a fortune, and it's not even. This is not a knock on Canadian manufacturing. It's just that we don't have the same tools that China has. We just don't.
Yeah.
Like for the
Yep.
meticulous tool products.
Not in the
like,
volume. Not, there's
not in the
shops that have,
volume.
yeah. Like
These
I know
machines.
I'm a fairly industrial guy by trade.
Huh.
And I know of a handful of shops that have what you'd call a 5-axis CNC machine that could do that kind of work. You know what I mean? There's
Yeah.
not a ton of them out there.
There's not a lot of them. And it's expensive because, hey, you know what? Our wages are higher. It's just going to happen. Like I said, because I've had people locally here because I live in the country, right? Like, and so like, oh, you're not making them Canadian. I said, yeah, like, sure. Would you spend $2,000 on this watch? Well, no. Well, how much is it? I'm like, well, it's 500 USD. That's expensive. I said, okay, you just said you wouldn't pay $2,000 for the watch. If I made it here, that's what it would be. And the movement wouldn't be made here, so it doesn't matter.
Well, and the very same person's got a smartphone in their pocket that's worth $1,000 that was made with sweatshop labor, right? Like it's so funny how we draw those lines. Like I don't eat hot dogs, but I eat a McDonald's.
But we all know the Facebook warriors, right? They're like, oh, I don't want to be tracked by the online community. You have a cell phone and you're on Facebook every day for hours. What do you think? You don't think they're tracking anything there? Like, why do you think you got fed the same information that your buddy Ralph down the road that you went on a fishing trip with, that you rode motorcycles to the fishing trip? Why do you think guys get the same ads about fishing and motorcycles?
Right. Yeah. Well, that's when people were talking about, all the COVID conspiracies, and I'm not getting into a whole bunch of that.
No,
but the one, my favorite was the Bill Gates one. Like, well, Bill Gates is trying to take over the world. Hey, a-hole, look at your laptop. Bill Gates already won.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, that was my favorite. Oh, Bill Gates, he's already won. He doesn't have to do any of this stuff.
You know what? And it's so interesting because, it's funny. I don't even remember what the original question was now because we've spawned off.
Sorry, buddy. We were talking about jerseys and apparel. Away from Bill Gates, back to jerseys and apparel.
So this is something that I can make here that is, I won't say affordable because it's not compared to, a t-shirt, but,
It's reasonable.
Alex and I have had this conversation. Like if you want to buy a Fanatics jersey, which is, I forget, do people swear on this podcast? I don't know.
You say whatever you want, man.
Oh.
Fanatics that are just dog shit. You know what I mean? Like they're crappy, terrible jerseys that are Temu quality, not even AliExpress, which is usually the better stuff. And like it is like the bargain.
The high-end AliExpress ones.
It is this jersey. You know what I mean? Like this Kleenex in a jersey, like that's the equivalent, right? And they're selling like these jerseys for $500 for authentic ones. They said that's absolutely insane. Like I didn't know how much hockey jerseys were, to be honest. Like I just like I knew basketball jerseys and I knew football jerseys, like the replica versions, which have gone up. I'm like, okay, well they're $200. How much are hockey jerseys now for the authentic ones? If the replica basketball jerseys are $130, which were like $60 like 10 years ago. Man. So I look at it and I'm like, oh, well, I'm still going to sell it for like minimal profit because at the end of the day, I wanted to make one for myself. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sell them. If people want one, that's great. I'm like, I love it because, I wanted to make something that was identifiable at watch shows. And
Well, great
it
conversation piece.
yeah, and it happens to be made fully in Canada. Like hockey jerseys are made here. The stitching company is in Toronto. So
Okay.
I'm sure the materials are 100% Canadian, but it's
Oh, you
fully
didn't source that from Canadian grown cotton?
I
and
know,
build
right?
it on didn't do it on a cotton
I
ginny
didn't
in your
shave the
garage?
lamb out my window.
Yeah.
Like I didn't go to the
Lazy.
field and shave it, bring it to them
Lazy.
to spin the wool. And,
Just half-assing it, James. Just half-assing it.
What are we even doing here? Jeez.
And then for the soccer jerseys, because my friend's like telling me, he's like, well, it's gonna be too hot. There's no way I'm ever gonna wear a hockey jersey. I'm like, fine, so I found out in Quebec, we would call it street hockey or ball hockey. They call it the best name ever. Do you know what they call ball hockey? Like they have, because there's ball hockey leagues all across Canada, right? And there's like nationals and provincials and nationals. They call it deck hockey. That's the best name. Yep.
Oh,
Love it.
Deck
I'm
hockey.
like, I'm calling it from now on deck hockey. That's so much
deck
better.
hockey. It's good.
I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, it's good, right? And so there's a company, it's V Nation. They're not in Montreal, they're not in Quebec City, they're like in like a city offshoot of one of them. Or a town offshoot of you know where it is? It's right over the Ontario border and Montreal. It's in that space between it. Like between the border of Ontario to Montreal.
That little bit of no man's land.
That little bit of no man's land, yeah. And so they produce so they do all in-house, like printing and stitching. And so like I'm like, well, it's a soccer jersey, people aren't gonna pay crazy money for it. But I want something that's athletic, and they have deck hockey jerseys that are soccer jerseys basically without the collars. And I'm like, this is awesome. I can make a hockey soccer jersey basically. And
brilliant.
I've worn it a lot because it's the World Cup. Obviously, it just so happened that it was World Cup year. I did not think of it.
Timing's everything, man.
Happy accident.
Yeah, and so it's funny because like now my jerseys, I have a jersey and like these are like friends. I've only sold like 4 of them, right? Like it's not a lot, but like Australia and Hungary are like were there. I'm like, what? And my hockey jersey, Tasmania, one of the guys.
Really?
Yeah, it's CJ Watch 247.
Okay, that's so cool.
He has a custom one.
Tanzania.
He got yellow for his numbers and name. So the rest of it's like what, like this is white, but like the number and like that is yellow and the name's yellow.
That's
so I'm
pretty
like,
cool.
'cause that's his color scheme, right? So he's like, can I get that? I said, well, I can check. I don't know. But yeah, it's just like, to me, that's cool. Like I lost money on shipping that to Tasmania. I'll say that. Like I lost money, but it's fine. Cause I'm like, you know what? It's cool that, someone, he's like, I've always wanted a hockey jersey. I just don't know why, but I've never I don't follow teams. I just think they're cool. And he's like, well, I want to support a friend. This is great. I'll buy one. So that was cool.
That's awesome. I was going to say, the only problem I have living in BC is I am not a Canucks fan. And I feel like I would have to explain that all the time and be like, "Oh, Canucks
Alex,
fan."
are you a Canucks Timepieces fan?
That I am. But
what you're saying right now is, James, I like you, but not enough to help market for you.
That's
true.
true.
No S.
But I live in small town.
Logo,
I live in small town BC. People will still get confused.
Yeah, they
just crapping on people I live with.
They ain't up on all that fancy book learning.
No, I love that jersey.
All your word
you and
pages.
I talked about it a bunch. Yeah, yeah. I'm not. Yeah,
well, like I said, Alex, you know what? You can talk to everybody in your locale about Canuck Timepieces, but now you simply refuse to, and I feel that I'm offended for James.
It's okay. I haven't sold any watches locally. It's not like
awesome.
It's not like it's our market. So
Yeah.
again, like I kid you not, I go to when I go to church and they're like, "Oh, you have watches? Oh, what's that? Well, how much do those run?" And I tell them like, "Oh, it's a lot of money." And I'm like, "Yeah, like it's not like a typical." And then someone would go, "Yeah, I got this Michael Kors for like $90. Why would I spend that?" I'm like, "So that's a $5 watch." Really? I
Yeah.
didn't say that. I was nice, obviously. I just like
Made with lead-based paint.
no, no, but I'm like in my head, I'm thinking like they're saying it's $300. It's on sale for 95,
Yeah.
and in reality, it's not. It's
Yeah.
not that.
Yeah. It's a
Exactly.
$4 watch.
It's a
Yeah.
it's not. But again, like no knock on someone because they're not enthusiasts. So like I don't.
Well, if you love it, I try not
Yeah,
to.
you love it, buy it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all
But
we
also
all wore
stop
fossils
it.
growing up. Don't lie. We all wore a fossil at
100%.
some point.
I still have 2.
Yeah,
There
me
you go.
too.
We all wore them.
Yeah.
Fossil. By
Yeah.
the way, fossils. Like I don't know who does their designing now, but they're making much nicer watches than they did in the past. I don't know if
They
you've
actually
I've
are
seen
doing
a-
okay. Yeah.
Nixon.
I've seen a
Nixon's
very
coming
nice
back.
Black Bay 58 ripoff.
Have you seen Nixon's watches?
Not recently.
Not for,
Nixon
actually, we just bought a
like
friend of
watches
ours a
now.
Nixon for Christmas. It's really nice.
Yeah, I was like, "What? That's a Nixon?" I'm like, "I didn't know they made watches still."
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
if you say Nixon to me, I'm thinking a pie plate with a strap on it.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm thinking something that's, 8
Yeah.
8 inches in diameter, probably, 4 inches thick.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Something you could use to stabilize your home if your foundation
Yeah.
sinks.
It's a quartz movement, so it doesn't need that space, obviously. That's the funny
Yeah.
part. That's
Yeah.
funny now
Yeah.
that I know so much. It's like, why are some of those watches why were watches ginormous? Why?
Yeah.
The movement is like this big and this thin. I'm like, what is
Yeah.
like
And you open it up and there's like a 3/4 inch spacer in the back.
Yes. Yep. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan and I are both in our 50s. I'm 53, so I grew up on a lot of Casios and Timex and a lot of digital watches. And yeah, I definitely in the 90s, I mean, my kids bought me a bunch of fossil watches over the years. I probably had like 8 or 10 of them at one point. Lord. Because I felt like every time I went in there, it's like, well, I can afford these. So I just always kept buying them. But
Oh yeah. That's exactly what
so-
happens, right? Like
yeah.
at the end of the
Yeah.
day, and again, like I don't shame anyone for that. And one of the biggest things is like, when I was in like sneakers, one of the biggest things frowned upon was fakes, right? But sneakers at the time, spending $2,000 resale on a shoe that's worth $200 Canadian, what? That's insane. And people would do it. But I saw that, and I admittedly I bought fake shoes sometimes because I'm just like, it's a shoe. It's made in the same factory. If it's not, it's across the street, which we know. We know that is exactly what happens. Some of them higher quality, like my fakes. Like I don't have a lot. I've like technically they're fakes. They're customs. Like there was a company or a person that wanted to create 85 silhouette before Jordan released it, that were made with like proper leather and things like that. So it was nicer, but people would be like, "Oh, they're fake." And I'm like, "Yeah, but what is the shoe? Is Jordan or Nike hurting because of it?" The answer is no. It's just leather, rubber, and foam. Actually, no foam because it was Jordan 1. So it's just rubber sole.
It was before
Versus-
that.
But versus a watch, and people are like, "Well, how could that not be the same?" Like I had guys in the sneaker world like, "Well, how come?" I said, "Because that's movements. Those are like proprietary parts, and they're putting Rolex on it. Like that is mechanisms. Like there is effort that is put into that."
Well, and the thing is, when you go and buy that custom shoe, you know what you're buying. There's an idiot somewhere out there that thinks they're buying a Rolex in downtown, New York
Yes.
City for $300.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. And but it's again, to me, it's more of like if you do boil it down to like someone who does know both sides, right? Like knows like, "Oh yeah, that's a fake shoe and that's a fake watch." Well, what's the difference? Well, one is a shoe that is like not that difficult to like design. It really isn't.
Right.
You can only, and that was so that's what kind of got my boredom with the sneaker streetwear community. Like I was in it for like 10, 15 years. Like it wasn't a short time, but I still love sneakers. I still wear my sneakers. I have this, like, I'm so happy with the collection I have. But there's a limitation on what you can do with a shoe versus a watch. It's like a house. You can make basically whatever you want, and it won't look extremely ridiculous. Okay, Invicta,
Yeah.
let's not go that way. But like,
We're not talking about Invictus.
Yeah, we're talking about watches.
but like, you know what I mean? No, like, but you know what I mean? No, with a shoe, right? Like, there's a reason why there's only, there's Nike. Like, if I'm talking about major brands, Nike, Adidas, Reebok is not. So let's go Puma, let's go New Balance, let's go Asics. So like those 5 kind of rule the industry right now. But there's smaller sneaker brands, but they're either in and out, or they have such a small piece of the market. There is not a niche market like Microbrands in watches.
Right.
There's not. I was in the sneaker. They're like, oh, well, they look like this. They're one of those brands. I'm like, because there's only so much you can do without it looking absolutely like Skechers or like a Jeremy Scott. If you know Jeremy Scott, do you remember the Adidas with like wings on it and stuff?
Oh yeah.
There's only so much you can do, or else it
Right.
looks ridiculous. And I said, with a watch, you can wear a watch that, obviously it's not simple, but like more simple versus this. And you're like, oh, well, that's like unique. Yeah. See, like if this was a shoe difference, this would look ridiculous on it as a shoe. Like,
Right.
well, if anyone remembers Kobe's first Adidas, it was like a Kleenex box on your feet, right? So
Yeah.
the point is, like, there's only certain limitations that you can do versus watches where there's just so many things you can do. And I think that's why I've like gone even further into this, where I'm just like, I love passion behind the brands. I love the history behind even the large brands. Like people crap on Rolex all the time. I don't crap on Rolex. I highly respect Rolex. Will I ever own one? Not a newer one. Like I would buy like one of my Grail watches. I don't know if I forget if you guys talk about Grail watches or not. I can't.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, we do.
We would
We
love
always
to.
do.
But no, but if you ask me, yes, like what's your Grail? Like it's like I will say achievable Grail. I'll say achievable is like a 1950s, early 1950s era Rolex Oyster Perpetual bubble back with the big crown. Can be a small second
Sorry.
or not.
I'm laughing because literally right before we were talking to Smartwatch Dick, we were talking about bubble backs. So,
Really? That's so funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
it's very funny.
they're I'll put in quotes, affordable for what they are and the
Right.
brand behind it. Like you can buy one. I don't need perfect condition. I actually want it beat up. As long as the crystal's clear, I do not care. Have the dial like beat up a bit. I think that creates a better story behind that watch. The case doesn't need to be perfect. And like you can find rough shape ones for like, I don't know, like not rough, like working and like serviced still for like $3,000 Canadian and like 45, like 45 to 5 on the high end. I don't have that money, but like if I did, that's an outstanding watch that you can actually achieve to get.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then on the other side of things, like a Grail that, to me, a Grail is something that you'll never be able to buy. At least that's how I've always viewed it. Like for sneakers,
Right.
it was always the Air Yeezy 2, which was Kanye's Red October shoe. You can never buy that. They're never gonna make it. They'd fall apart now. Just the way it is. But for a watch, and this is a popular watch in the wealthy community, but a Vacheron 222, give it to me all gold, baby. If it is, if I'm spending that money, I'm spending that money. And it's like,
Let's
that
go
watch
all
to
in.
me
Yeah.
is spectacular. The bracelet, It's
Yeah.
it's classy. It's now again, will I ever own one? Probably not. And that's okay. I'm content with that. Now I buy
Yeah.
a vintage one, which are a fraction of the price of the new one, which is we all talk about it's an investment. No, it's clearly not. If a 1970s Vacheron 222 is 50 grand and the new ones are 120, 150, it's
Yeah.
clearly
Yeah.
not an investment in that case. Because like
Exactly.
that is like I would rather have the older watch for many reasons, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
such a unique.
I tell people the best case scenario, you got a money park. You know what I mean? You got somewhere where your money's going to sit.
Do you know
And
what?
then I always
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I love cars. So like if I spent that type of money, I'm buying the cars I want.
Mhm.
Like not if I won the lottery.
Yeah,
That's
fair.
what
Yeah,
I'm-
when you're getting close to 6 figures on a watch, you're probably buying a car.
yeah.
So what's the Grail car then?
So okay. So daily, Porsche 911 GT3 Touring, which is the GT3 RS motor, but in a Touring, so no wing, but has that 4-liter flat six
Mm.
and has back seats for the kids. So it would be a
Mm.
daily.
Because you're practical like that.
Because I'm practical. There you go. But if you know, as like let's say the wife's like, well, no, it needs to be able to drive you around. Perfect. I'll get a Porsche GTS 4S. There you go. Cool. Yep. There you go. 4-wheel drive. Yeah, I can drive it around. So that's like
Sold.
that's the like dream daily. And then I have a very, very weird vintage favorite, and it's Porsche again. I love Porsche. Porsche 912, which many people do not know about because there was the first gen 911, and at the same time there was an overlap. They made a 912, which was just an extended wheelbase version, so that it could be
Okay.
more comfortable and less like it has like
Yeah.
a proper back seat.
So it's the 911 Touring Edition.
The 911, and it was like only made for 5 years, and they're actually for Porsche, like knowing how expensive they are and knowing how expensive like vintage ones are now because they've skyrocketed in the last like probably in the last 2-3 years, like it's very recent. Like they're like quite affordable for what they are. It's crazy. Like the
Right.
911 version is like double the price. And I'm like, this makes no sense. It's the same car. It's actually better because it's even rarer. Like, and it's the
Oh,
opposite of
interesting.
every other vintage car. Yeah, I like reliable when it comes to most things. So it needs to be
Yeah.
there needs to be some value outside of just the design, and but more importantly, like having longevity with a product. Speaking like, like I'm wearing Old Navy shorts, right? You know what I mean? Like it's clothing's a little different for me personally. I know a lot of people like they do like having like that one thing. Um, I used to work at the Gap 20 years ago. Guess what? I still have jackets from then. I still have I don't have jeans, man. I have a little bigger waist now, and my shirts are larger. But like the jackets, like I still have jackets from 20 years ago. So when people are like, "Oh, it's just fast fashion," no, it's not. Like clearly, I still have it, and it still like it's like the sleeves are a bit like ratty, but like it's still there. There's no rips in it.
Yeah.
And I said I
Yeah.
wear it all the time. Like wear that jacket all the time, and I'm like,
Yeah, Vegas outlet mall shirts, right? And I haven't
we
been to
all have our
Vegas since
priorities.
2018. So
There you go. And we all have our priorities, right? Like
yeah.
but for me, it's longevity and serviceability of something, right? So like and that obviously goes down to my watches as well. But, if I'm looking at something like, a Grail watch, I'm like, hey, that's a cool watch. And I know it'll continuously be passed on. Car, same thing, right? Like, hey, if I'm gonna buy a supercar, at least give me the most reliable one that I can drive in the winter and not worry that something's gonna break. And
That's why I don't buy Ferrari. Yeah, it's not because I don't have the money.
why.
It's because they're not reliable. They're not
They're
reliable.
terribly unreliable cars. Yeah.
You know,
Yes,
Italian watch, yes. Italian cars, no.
Yeah, that's why.
All right.
That's awesome.
Yeah. All right.
That's awesome.
On that note, boys, let's take this thing home. James, where can our watchers find you? What's your social media and stuff?
It's just at Canuck Timepieces. The website is canucktimepieces.com. Right now we have the Fourth Dimension on pre-order, delivered probably early September. Right now there is about half of them left out of 50, so I'm happy with that. And I'll give a sneak peek actually to all of you with the.
I just kicked up the page here because this
Perfect.
thing is very, very cool. This is a really cool watch.
It's funny because we didn't even go to the detail of that watch and like the whole series of like being interstellar, but that's okay. It's okay.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to have you back on.
I know. That's what that means. There you go. So this is my next case. The dial and hands are not what I'm releasing. I actually made this dial and case over a year. Not a year. No, was it June? I made it back in October last year, the design. But the case is 39 by 42 and a half, and it's 9.7 thick, including crystal.
Oh, including crystal. Thank you, James.
See, and that's why I say luck to lug. And I include luck
Yeah.
to lug because that's how I measure things. I have a small wrist. I have a Willard and they're awesome. They're 44, 45 millimeters, but they're also lug to lug is 44 millimeters. So that's why it fits me. So when someone says, I don't wear anything larger than a 44, I'm like, yeah, but is it lug width or lug length? Because a Duro I can wear because it's a 47 and a half to 48 lug to lug. It's huge. It's 42, 43. No, it's 44, I think.
44, yep.
Yeah. And I said, but it doesn't wear like one.
No.
But so this is the case. So it's like a
cushion style.
tonneau cushion.
That's
case.
beautiful.
And has just a small onion crown. It has to be because of the width of it. It's very slim. So
I love that.
And it would be brushed. It's not going to be polished because I find polished. My first release had polishing on it. And I find that if I'm going to make a watch, it needs to be able to take children and doing things. And if it's a polish, it's so easy to just get scratched.
That is beautiful.
So it's, I'm very happy with this case because it is something that I designed and it's not, there are a lot of things like it, most likely because it's a tonneau cushion case, right? But if you notice as well, it's like a half lug. Or half hooded lug.
Yeah.
So
almost fits underneath the case.
It fits, you can't see. So I have friends that is one of their no-nos with watches. The reason why they only wear bracelets because they don't like having the space when it comes to like the leather strap or the cam strap because they're like, I don't like the little space. So
I don't like Omega.
Really?
Their mesh bracelet. You're going to try and charge me $10,000 and you're not going to fit that against the case. That's not going to happen ever.
That's so funny. But yeah, so it's got a nice fitting with it. It's not going to be this It's not going to be this dial and handset, but this will be the case. That will be releasing at the Toronto Time Pieces show.
Where we will all
and there'll be
there
some
together.
available to buy.
I was just saying, guy better start saving his money.
Oh boy,
it'll be affordable. It'll be under 500 USD.
That's awesome. See,
it'll be hand thing. It goes with the whole space travel thing.
Nice. That's awesome.
You can't have a rotor in space. So
I like it.
Fair enough. Fair
So
enough.
that's something to
Congratulations,
look.
man.
That's something to look forward to, and for Toronto, I can't wait. I can't
you
wait
go.
to see,
Yeah.
and we'll get to see it in person. Ah, excellent.
Yes.
All right,
right,
so
man.
that's what's coming up, and again, Fourth Dimension for pre-order on the website. Go grab yours now. There's about half of them left. That's such a cool watch. I just have the picture of the loomed picture up on my other screen here. Such good loom.
Loom
So
is
good.
very important.
Yeah.
All of my
Yeah.
watches have loom, just to let you know.
Awesome.
That'll
Love it.
be
Yeah.
that's that will be part of like the design language.
That's part of the brand DNA.
Yeah,
Love it.
for sure.
Love it.
Love it.
All right, man. Well, let's do this again soon.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you back and we'll chat some more. Thank you for joining us and sharing all your stories with us today. We appreciate everyone giving us a listen and following along. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Go and ask James your questions on his social medias. He's very interactive on there. Him and I chat all the time. Yeah, if you have anything for him, definitely go bother him. Thank you so much, James. It's been great to chat and get to know you. And yeah, we'll chat more on Instagram.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right. Have a good one.
Thanks, everyone.
Peace.
And slow down, we're out of time. Same watch talk next time.
Where are you? Why am I not golfing? I cannot sleep, I cannot eat tonight. And what's with all the spiders catching things and eating their insides? Like indecision to call you.